Hi guys, welcome back for another huge iEquip preview. So in the first two videos we looked at customizing the widget layout in edit mode and how to add and manage items in your queues. Well, this time we're going to get right to what iEquip is really all about and take a look at the main gameplay features. At its core, iEquip is a hotkey gear switching mod with its own dynamic HUD widget, which you can see in its most basic form down at the bottom right. But as you're about to see, iEquip has a ton of gameplay features, all managed through just 4 gameplay hotkeys and 1 utility key. To keep the number of keys to a minimum and to make the controls as intuitive as possible, each of those 5 keys has several functions. So let's start with the easy ones first. Your shout key has just a single function, which is single press to cycle through your shouts and powers. So if we just want to take a look at this in action, we have Unrelenting Force, and we cycle to Fire Breath, and there we go. Next up, you have one key which controls both your consumables and your poisons. So a single press will cycle through your consumables, a long press will consume whatever you've got currently showing, and a double press will cycle through your poisons. We'll come back to the left and right in a second, so that brings us to the utility key. Single press brings up the queue menu, which we looked at before. A double press takes you into edit mode. And a triple press takes you straight to the iEquip MCM. The other function on the utility key is it acts as a combo key while you're cycling. So if you press and hold your utility key while you're cycling, you will then cycle backwards. So if you cycle forwards, miss what you want to go to, press and hold your control and cycle back, and that'll take you back to where you want to go. And that leaves us with the left and right keys. Now these are where most of the gear switching goes on, so each of these has 5 functions. Like the others, a single press will cycle the queue. Okay. If you have a weapon equipped, then a double press will apply the current poison to that weapon, and a long press allows you to recharge the enchantment on the equipped item. And then you also have triple press and press and hold, which are used to activate 3 of the Pro Mode features that we'll cover shortly. So single press cycle, double press poison, long press recharge, and then triple press and press and hold for Pro Mode. Now that's the most you'll have to familiarise yourself with in iEquip, and once you've got the hang of that, the rest is pretty straightforward. Like I said, I've tried to keep everything as intuitive as possible, hence all the functions affecting a particular slot are on that one key. Right, so let's take a look at some of the MCM settings for cycling and how they affect things. So first up, we've got Equip on Pause. This is enabled by default, as to my mind it's the way most of you will want cycling to work. Essentially, you can cycle through your items as much as you like, but nothing will be equipped or unequipped until you pause on an item. You can configure the pause delay, or you can turn it off altogether if you want to equip each item immediately on cycle, but particularly if you've got more than 3 or 4 items on your queue, this can become very tedious. Next 2 settings are these 2 here, which affect what happens with one-handed items if you only have one of them in your inventory. So this setting that we're on here allows us to add an item to both queues even if you only have one of it, and this setting determines what happens if you currently have it equipped in one hand and then cycle to it in another. So if we look at that in action, if we allow single items in both queues, but disallow switching. Let's just jump back in here. If we have a look in our queues, you can see we've got our Skyforge Steel War Axe here in the left hand queue, and we've got it here just before our Iron Battle Axe in the right hand queue. So if we just go back one slot in our right hand queue to the start, we've currently got our Skyforge War Axe in our left hand. If we cycle forwards, you would expect to see it in slot 3 in the right hand queue. But as you can see, it just jumped straight over it to the Battle Axe. It wasn't even there for cycling to. Right, let's just come back down to something one-handed again, so that we're equipped back. Now if we then go back in and we set it to allow one-handed switching, and we do the same thing again, start back at the start, and we go forwards, you'll see it lets us select it. And then as it equips, it moves from the left hand to the right hand, and iEquip then finds you something one-handed to go back into your left hand. And lastly, if we take another quick look in here, this one's more of a visual tweak, which is this here, fade left icon if two-handed equipped, and the amount of fade below there. So essentially, if I now equip my battle axe again, you will see that the left hand icon fades out to show that you have a two-handed weapon equipped. And then as I go back to a one-handed item, it should fade back in. There we go. That left hand fade out is enabled by default, but as with most things in iEquip, you can disable it or adjust the fade out to your preference. Okay, so that's basic cycling at two-handed, but things get pretty cool when you equip a ranged weapon, so let's just jump to my first bow and watch what happens. So as you can see, the previous left hand item has moved smoothly out to the side and been replaced with the ammo widget. And while you're marvelling at how cool that first animation was, let's just take a quick look at another couple of MCM settings. So each time you equip a ranged weapon, iEquip will scan your inventory and find all of the ammo types relevant to that weapon, and then depending on this setting here, will sort your ammo queue by damage or alphabetically, or not at all. If you choose to sort by damage, then once sorted, iEquip will automatically select and equip the ammo with the highest base damage first every time. If you choose to sort alphabetically or not to sort at all, then it will equip either the first ammo in the queue or the last ammo that you had equipped if you still have some of it. Now next up, because iEquip knows exactly when you are equipping and unequipping your ranged weapons, it was pretty easy to build in a native auto unequip ammo function, so not having to rely on another plugin and papyrus events which don't always trigger reliably. If you'd prefer your quiver to stay visible, then you can easily turn it off. And lastly, in relation to the ammo widget, is this setting, which allows you to select the style of ammo icon for the widget. So single arrow rather, triple arrow, or the quiver. We'll just set it to triple, and you'll see it updates to a triple icon. Right, so once you're in ammo mode, a single press on your left key will cycle your ammo, and a double press will cycle the item in your on hold slot, ready for re-equipping. Let's just get back to our... it's not going to let me go back to the axe. Let's have an exploding frost spider. If you're already in ammo mode and you switch to another ranged weapon, then if it's the same type of weapon, so bow to a bow, crossbow to a crossbow, then the ammo widget won't be affected. However, if you switch ranged weapon types, then it will rescan your inventory and switch to the different ammo type. As you can see, iEquip also detects the special ammo types and displays a relevant enchantment icon alongside the ammo icon. There we go. And to exit ammo mode, you can either cycle your right hand, which will in turn re-equip the left hand. As long as you're not equipping a two-handed item, you just jump back in again. The other alternative is to long press your left key, in which case it will select the left and then scroll forwards in your right hand queue to find a one-handed item or spell or whatever to re-equip in your right hand queue. And last of the regular mode features is a Go Unarmed feature. When you first load iEquip, you will notice that these two fist weapons are added. So basically you have a one-handed item and a two-handed item. Equipping the one-handed in either hand simply unequips that hand, whilst equipping the two-handed will, if I can find it, hang on, it's back the way. There we go. Unequips both hands, leaving you ready for a good old-fashioned brawl. Cycling out of a completely unarmed state should cause both hands to be re-equipped. Okay, so everything that you've seen so far is available out of the box in regular mode, but the fun really starts when you enable Pro Mode in the MCM, and as well as giving you access to additional settings for various things, Pro Mode also includes 4 new gameplay modes or functions, which are Preselect, QuickShield, QuickRanged, and QuickDualCast. The first and biggest of these features is Preselect mode, which is activated by pressing and holding either your left or right hotkey. In Preselect, you now have up to 3 additional Preselect slots showing in the widget, 1 for each left and right hand, and 1 for shouts. If you've got less than 3 items in any queue, then Preselect won't be enabled for that slot. Pressing your hotkeys now cycles the Preselect slot and not the currently equipped one. Now this allows you to keep using your currently equipped items whilst cycling the Preselect items ready to equip next. Once you've got your next set of gear pre-selected, then you can either long press on each of the hotkeys to equip them one at a time, or you can press and hold either left or right, which will then switch all 3 together. If you choose to equip all and you've got a two-handed or ranged weapon in your right hand, if I just get to that. Okay, so let's equip all again, press and hold. you'll see that only the shout and right hand switched and the left hand stayed exactly as it was. If you equip a ranged weapon whilst you're in pre-select mode, then again the left hand slot is replaced with the ammo widget, and as with regular mode, a single press will now cycle your ammo, and a double press will cycle the pre-select. So with a bit of advanced planning in your queues, this allows you to build pretty complex multi-stage attack plans. So for instance, I could equip a ranged weapon and storm call, and then queue up a set of melee weapons and slow time. I could fire off a few shots as I close in, use storm call, and then equip all pre-selected as I get to melee range, fire off slow time, swing a few hits, then cycle to my next set, and so on. When you use this in conjunction with the next couple of features I'm going to show you, you can do some really pretty cool combinations without an awful lot of effort. And just in case you're wondering, all of these cool animations that are going on have been written in such a way that it shouldn't matter what you do to your layout in edit mode, these animations should always run as expected. To exit pre-select, you simply press and hold on your consumable key. So the next Pro Mode feature is QuickShield, which is activated with a triple press on your left key. Shield's in your left hand, so triple press left. When you do this, iEquip will check what you currently have equipped in your right hand, and if it finds a weapon, we'll scan your left hand queue for a shield to equip, or if it finds a spell in your right hand, we'll look for a ward to equip. If either case it doesn't find its first choice, it will then look for another. So if it doesn't find a shield, it'll look for a ward. If it doesn't find a ward, it'll look for a shield. So if we just take a look at that in action, we have a one-handed weapon equipped in our right, and if I quick shield, there we go, we have a shield. If I move to my flame spell and I triple press, there we go, we've got our ward spell. In the MCM, here we go, you can also choose to prefer magic, in which case it will, regardless of what you've got in your right hand, it will look for a ward spell, and if you don't have a spell in your right hand at the time, it will then search through and equip a spell of either destruction by default, or if you want to set your own preferred magic school, you can do so. So if we just switch back to one-handed weapons again. Okay. And we quick shield now. There we go. We have a ward and a destruction spell. Back in the MCM, you can also choose a couple of other options for this. So you can choose to block it if you have a two-handed or ranged weapon equipped, and you can also decide what you want to happen in pre-select. So you can either disable it completely in pre-select, you can have it equip the shield to the left-hand pre-select slot, or you can have it actually equip to the main slot. Along the same lines as QuickShield, we have QuickRanged. QuickRanged is activated when you triple press your right key, so bows and crossbows in your right queue, triple press on right. On activating it, Again, iEquip will scan through your right hand queue for your preferred ranged weapon type and will equip it immediately. It will sort and select the ammo in the same way as it does in regular ammo mode. And again, in here you can also decide what you want to happen if you are in pre-select mode when you use it. So if we just take a look at that, we've got bow selected, triple press right, and there we go. We've got our dragonbone bow and our ebony arrows straight away. And finally we have QuickDualCast, which is essentially a passive setting that allows you to cycle to a spell in one hand and have it automatically equip in both hands, ready for you to dual cast. So we just take a look at my flame spell. Here we go. So there we go. We have dual cast flames. Excellent. Now if we take a quick look in the MCM at a couple of the settings for this, you can basically choose which schools you would like to enable QuickDualCast for, and you can also limit it here to only spells which you have in both the left and right hand queues. So if we leave it set on Destruction and Restoration here, and only if in both queues, let me just give you a quick look at the spells in my queues for now. So in the left hand we have Flames and Healing and our Ward. So Flames and Healing and our Ward. And in the right hand we have got Flames and Sparks. Okay, so the only one in both queues is the Flames spell. So at the moment, with only in both queues, Flames with QuickDualCast, let's try Sparks, and it only selects it in the right hand, and if we try Healing, it only equips it in the left hand. If we jump back in and remove that setting, and we'll just go back down to Flames again. So if we now try Sparks, we've got QuickDualCast Sparks, and if we now try Healing, oops, missing it, we can have two wards. Never had a ward in both hands, but yeah, there you go. And Healing, QuickDualCasting Healing. QuickDualCast is disabled in pre-select mode and a few other circumstances. For example, if the equipping of a spell which would normally trigger the dual casting is the result of a forced equip from switching something in the other hand, and so on, just to stop you from getting into an equip-unequip loop. And finally, okay, just to finish off, there's a couple of other small things to show you. Firstly, if we have a quick look back into the UI options, there's a couple of fade out options over here. Widget fade out's not enabled yet, however name fade outs are, and with this setting enabled, you can basically set a timeout delay for your main names and a separate timeout delay for your pre-select names. Just jump back in, take a quick look, 6 seconds, and the names will fade out right on cue. And if we jump into pre-select mode, there we go, shows all the relevant ones for pre-select. Pre-select's out first, and a couple of seconds later, there go the others. There you go. And these are all completely independent of each other, so you can basically have them all fading out in sequence if you want to sit and play around with it. And we just come back out of there. When they're faded out like that, first time you press a key to cycle, it will show the name and the next time you press it, it will carry on cycling. Okay, let's just get rid of that for now. And lastly, earlier I showed you the auto unequip ammo setting here, which we'll disable for now. Directly above it you might have noticed the toggle for all geared up. This is essentially a toggle for the disabled vanilla geared up any setting, allowing favoured items to show in your character when they're not equipped, and it uses the same workarounds as mods like Equipping Overhaul for LE and Visible Favoured Items to refresh the visible items on any change to stop them from disappearing. Problem with those mods is, alongside hotkey mods, they don't always reliably detect unequip and equip events, so you end up with all of your visible gear very quickly disappearing. So by implementing this directly into the iEquip code, I'm able to refresh it right after any equip or unequip event, meaning that the visible items always stay visible. So with this on and auto unequip ammo off, your character can stay fully geared up at all times. Here we go. Let's just select my bow so that we've got some ammo. There we go. So all our favourite items are on there, and he looks pretty tooled up actually. So yeah, that's it. So that's it for this update. I know there's been a huge amount to take in there, but I hope you like where it's going. I have a couple of features left to finish off, mainly the poisoning and the enchantment recharging, and then there's quite a bit of behind the scenes stuff to do, so I think we're probably still a month or so off release, but it is getting close. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I hope you like what you see. As always, feel free to comment below or on the Reddit posts, check out the other iEquip videos in my channel, and come and find us on Discord. Until next time.